Welcome to the Village Talks podcast. This is a space where physiology meets lived experience, where we talk honestly about the body, the nervous system, relationships, and the real questions families are asking without fear-based narratives or one-size-fits-all answers. We're your hosts. I'm Dr. Jaimy.
And I'm Dr. Brittany. We're chiropractors, perinatal specialists, and humans who work closely with families through preconception, pregnancy, birth, postpartum, and early parenthood. Whether you're preparing for pregnancy, currently pregnant, newly postpartum, raising a little one, or supporting someone who is, you're in the right place.
Let's get into today's conversation.
Welcome back to another episode of the Village Talks podcast. Today we are talking about the pressure to be low maintenance in pregnancy, what we can do differently, and why it's a really good time to really figure out discernment and your voice and find it during this time. So we're going to jump right into it.
Yeah, I think if there's one time in our lives to dig your heels in and stand up for and speak up for what you want, I think pregnancy and birth are arguably the most important.
Yep.
I think that there are a lot of different personality types. Everybody has different levels of comfort in terms of self-advocacy, right? And sharing what you want and what you need, right? In different relationships. And this can happen in romantic relationships. This can happen in familial relationships and friendships. And then oftentimes for people, this is a wildly different experience with doctors and healthcare providers, right? Yeah. People that are in what we perceive to be a position of power, or people who we expect have a certain level of expertise beyond our own. And so we want to kind of defer to that. Yeah. There's a little bit of that happening, but then I also think that we as women and in our society are often raised to just be quiet, don't go with the flow, don't rock the boat, keep everybody happy, don't create friction. And so for so many of us in so many different situations, we have learned to, or have straight up been told to, put our own wants, our own needs, our own desires aside, just to keep everything flowing smoothly.
Keep the peace.
Keep the peace. And so I think a lot of us already do that in a lot of ways. And then it carries over into pregnancy where there are other people involved in this, but this is about you. This is your body. This is your baby. This is your birth. And this is absolutely not the time to withhold your own feelings and emotions and desires. And even to the point of, yes, we will talk about in so many episodes, like how important your partner and your partnership and your communication is. But at the end of the day, you can't just be giving in and yielding to anyone, even your partner, to look like you're low maintenance or to keep the peace or to keep everybody else happy, because who suffers every time is you. And I think that this is such a profound time and a life-changing time that if there will ever be a time where you will regret going along with what somebody else wanted, yielding your own desires to somebody else, just trying to keep everybody happy, this is it. This is where you end up on the other side of this experience and you don't feel good about your experience. And so you have to deal with that. You have to deal with your own guilt and shame and turmoil around that afterwards, but it also can build resentment with your partner or other people that you care about. Absolutely. This can be why people look back and they really dislike their care provider, it's the reflection piece, I think, is where the biggest impact comes in. And at that point, it's too late. So if you are in pregnancy and you are not feeling good about a decision that you and your partner have come to together, about what you've been told or a choice that feels like it's been made for you in terms of where are you giving birth? How are you giving birth? What are you and are you not allowed to do? If there are things that are really important to you, then you owe it to yourself and your future self to speak up and advocate and make those things happen. Self-advocacy is really hard for a lot of people, especially if you were raised, you know, in an environment where you are used to your voice being ignored, where you are used to your needs coming last or not ever coming at all, right? And so this can be really challenging. And oftentimes it means you're not actually the one advocating. This doesn't actually have to look like self-advocacy every step of the way, but you've got to be able to speak up and voice what you want to someone, whether that's your partner or whether that's a doula, right? Because at the end of the day, that's the biggest thing the doula does, right? They're there to support you, what you want, what you need, be your walking, talking birth encyclopedia. But essentially, they are there to advocate for what you want while still existing within the space of safety, right? It's that balance between those two, because at the end of the day, you've hired your birth provider to keep you and your baby safe. Their top priority is that you and your baby leave the hospital alive. I think we can set a higher bar than that.
I think so too.
And oftentimes, even if you are good at really self-advocating, you shouldn't have to do that in your labor, right? We want to be able to stay in that flow state, in that labor land zone. And that's hard to do if you have to constantly be piping up and speaking your mind and advocating for something that you've made it very clear you do or do not want already.
Absolutely.
And so I think these conversations have to be happening sooner than later. They have to be happening before birth. But, you know, even I shared with you, you know, in trying to decide what topics we were going to discuss today, there was a conversation that came up in a local birth group with a patient who, she's not a patient, she's a pregnant person who is looking at a scheduled C-section because of placenta previa. So it's medically necessary. She's already has some bleeding. You know, this isn't whether or not she should have a C-section. This is the safest birth for her and her baby. But even though this isn't a new diagnosis and they've been talking about it for a long time, at no point has anybody talked to her about what a C-section looks like. And so they gave her a window, 2 to 3 days, of where they recommend she has the C-section. There's a couple of doctors that are on call these days. And so she picks a day, and then this is the doctor, and is like, I want to meet the doctor before. Great, let's do that. Goes into this visit with this doctor and is asking all the questions about C-section, right? Like, what is this going to look like? Can I have my partner and my doula in there? You know, can you drop the drape? Like, is really trying to understand what this day looks like, because this isn't what she was planning. This is not her first birth. Her first birth was not a C-section. So this is all new territory for her. And after a handful of questions, the doctor just full on cuts her off and is like, you know, we'll go over all of this on the day of your C-section. We really don't need to go over this right now. And so she left that appointment feeling certainly not heard, but also like her sensation walking away is, I don't even want this doctor present at my birth, much less in charge of it. And so then the question to the group is it too late for me to ask for somebody else? Am I being overly sensitive? Am I being overly like all of these emotions of like, she's the problem. The issue isn't what happened in the room. It's her perception of the problem. And basically, is she being a pain in the butt by trying to switch doctors because she doesn't feel comfortable with that provider? And thankfully, like pretty much everybody in the group is like, it's never too late to switch. You had 2 other days and 2 other options. Absolutely call and ask for them. Like, if if that's already your feeling, how much anxiety is created from now until that birth?
Yeah.
How much anxiety are you walking into that OR with because of who's in charge of it?
Yeah.
Right? Like in my mind, like this provider has failed to do the most basic responsibility, the bare minimum of their job, which is explain, I am recommending a surgery for you. You are walking into a surgery. I want you to walk into this feeling safe and comfortable. Mm-hmm. Let me answer your questions.
And that's not the day of. That, it's like, in any other surgery case, there is at least some type of conversation. I mean, I saw this with, someone I had dated in the past who had to get their first rib removed. Okay, they walked him through what that surgery was going to look like, where they were going to go, how they were going to do it, all this stuff that was going to go on before the day of.
Yep.
So he could decide if that was something he wanted to do. And so he had an idea of it going into it, yep. Right? Like the same thing should happen, even if it's a routine C-section, right? Like it is still a surgery. It is still something that someone has to walk through, and knowing all the things before the day of, like, cool, you're going to go in triage and you're going to explain things, fine. That should still happen, but you should also give them an idea beforehand.
Yeah.
Like it's just going to riddle them with anxiety, because like anything can happen, right? And they want to know, are they going to be safe? Do I trust this person? Is there someone else who can do it? Like who's going to be in the room? Like all of this stuff, like that is important to cover before going into it 2 hours beforehand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we're not talking about an emergency C-section, mm-hmm. right? Where, by all accounts, we would have had, a normal progression of labor that ended in a vaginal birth. Mm-hmm. And so we never really had to consider what a C-section would look like. We're not talking about that. We're talking about, we know that this will be a surgical birth, and we're scheduling it, and we're telling you what day and what time to show up. Everybody gets an explanation of surgeries except for C-sections. Yeah. And it's like, but also most people are doing far more research and far more planning mm-hmm. around birth than they even would have around these other surgeries. Totally. Right? So it's like most people are not going out and doing 6 months of research on what shoulder surgery might look like mm-hmm. before they even know whether or not they're going to have shoulder surgery. Oh, and I can't say that word 2 times in a row. So yeah, it is just kind of an odd, the way that we handle things in the medical model of birth right now is not the way that we really handle anything else mm-hmm. in terms of healthcare and medicine. Yeah. It is just this very kind of on one hand, like, well, this is normal, this is natural, we assume everything. And on the other hand, this can't happen without control and intervention. Yep. It's like mm-hmm. you pick a lane, right? Yeah. Like which one is it, right? Yeah. Like if you want to control everything and we want to intervene in this process, like they deserve to understand what's about to happen to their body. Totally. And as the recommending provider, it's your responsibility to explain this process or this procedure or whatever it is. I think the biggest trigger for her in this experience, and what upsets me the most about it is, and I'm not the provider. I don't know what was happening beforehand. Mm-hmm. I only know the emotions and feelings the patient was left with. But for all we know, she's already running 20 minutes behind. Yeah. And now she's getting this barrage of questions, mm-hmm. which is like, this is so routine. Like, mm-hmm. this is not a big deal. We don't need to cover this. Fair enough. But saying like, telling the patient that they shouldn't be asking these questions mm-hmm. or being dismissive mm-hmm. of their questions and concerns, to me is just, you have no business in healthcare. Yeah. Right? Like you can say, it sounds like you have a lot of questions about this. I want to get them all answered. I'm running, I've got to get to my next appointment, but can you leave a list of questions with the front desk? Here's my card. Email me all your questions mm-hmm. and I will get to them. We'll get them to you in the next 24 hours, the next 72 hours, whatever. Yeah. Right? Or we try to create handouts sometimes for like the really consistent questions. It's not that we don't want to tell you, but we can't spend 30 minutes answering questions every day. I love our model of care because we do schedule longer visits for pregnancy. Mm-hmm. And honestly, part of it doesn't take me 20 minutes to adjust somebody. Mm-hmm. It's because the amount of these questions that we get and the amount of emotions that we are helping patients process because they're not getting them answered elsewhere is really high.
Totally.
I'm thankful that we have information to share with them.
Mm-hmm.
But like that for me is the piece of it of like, look, even if you're in a hurry, you can still have someone feel seen and feel heard
Yep.
without saying everything they need to hear.
Yep.
Right. But treat them with respect, acknowledge what they're asking you, acknowledge that it's your responsibility to provide this information to them. It doesn't have to be in this moment.
Totally.
Right.
Yep.
And so I think that would have been a very different experience if that provider had said, we will go over all of this beforehand, just so you know, but if you want this information sooner, I will get it to you.
Yep.
Leave a list of questions at the front desk.
Yep.
Right.
Like, I will happily give it to you. That's the thing too, right? It's like, there's a really big voice right now in the birth world. I mean, not right now. She's been in it for a long time. It's Floor Cruz. She's a badass mother birther. Love her.
Yep.
But she recently made a post about like coming out alive in birth is the bare minimum. Like the bare minimum.
You gotta stop acting like that is some sort of paramount of success.
Yeah, like with today's,
it's 2026.
all the things, like all the new things that we do and all the interventions and all of this stuff, like the bare minimum is coming out alive. But what we have to do is reframe it and have providers remember bedside matter, remember the humanity of it all. But this is also where, you know, kind of back to our topic conversation of like, you are not too much in pregnancy by asking questions. You are not too much in pregnancy, birth, or postpartum by advocating for yourself. You are not a burden. You are going through a very, very transformative time, and there are a lot of things that are going on that you may or may not have experienced before. And so who your provider is, and that's not just OB midwife, that's also your doula, that's also your massage therapist, that's also your chiropractor, whoever you're working with as part of
anyone
your team.
You have hired and are paying money to and works for you.
Exactly. Yep. That's the biggest thing, is like they all need to be on the same page. And some requests may not be able to be honored for whatever reason, like a full placenta previa. Okay, there's a reason why C-section needs to happen, right?
Absolutely.
Not always. And we can talk about that.
Yeah. Well,
Shout out
like
to body work and acupuncture.
Yes.
Hey.
Yes.
That was a fun one.
Yeah.
But there are instances where, yes, that needs to happen.
Yep.
Okay, great. Let's work as a team to make sure that the patient that we have going into it, who we are taking care of, feels empowered and confident, and that they trust us. Not just because you have a title behind your name. I could care less about the title behind your name. I really don't care about the letters behind your name.
Yeah.
Who are you as a person? That's the biggest thing there, and how you practice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that is an issue. It's always so interesting to me that, you know, typically, so I started off on a traditional medical track. I was planning to go to med school, and I kind of look at like, you know, my cohort, my classmates, all of us who moved into healthcare, and you know, people who choose to become surgeons typically they're very meticulous. They are, I don't want to say control freaks always, but they like procedure. They like consistency. They like predictability. Things can go south in surgery for sure, but there are right ways and wrong ways to do it. Like it is kind of a very methodical, meticulous profession. And then we have surgeons who go into birth where nothing is predictable. Nothing is methodical. You can't plan it. You can't control it. So there is this sort of interesting dichotomy for me within this profession as a whole. But I think that you have to take your ego out of it.
Totally.
And you can have pride and you can have confidence in who you are as a provider through your training, through your mentorship, through your experience. But patients are not here trying to challenge your ego.
Totally.
This shouldn't be a power struggle, right? There should never be a power struggle. And it's infuriating when providers are using things like shame and guilt and fear to manipulate patients to do what they want. And, you know, everybody wants the best birth outcomes, but beyond everybody survives. And I think what's important for people listening to understand is like, there are OBs out there who are phenomenal at C-sections.
Yeah.
And if you need a C-section, you maybe don't want to hire the doctor with the lowest C-section rate, right? Like, hire the right person for the job you want done. But if you want a low intervention unmedicated birth, you maybe don't select the provider with the highest C-section rate, right? Like, you're right off the bat, you're going to be in disagreement about something. And I don't think providers want patients coming in the office that aren't what they envision as their ideal patient. There are, like, we've talked about this in other episodes, like, people's idea of ideal birth varies so dramatically. So, yeah, there are a whole lot of people who, for any number of reasons, they absolutely want someone who's going to be in charge of their entire pregnancy and birth, someone that they trust based on their training and their experience and their expertise to tell them what to do. And they're totally on board with that. And that's awesome. Don't hire a home birth midwife. Yeah. Right. And then on the flip side of that, if you want to at least be an equal partner, if not be in charge of your birth, find a provider that is okay sitting in the back seat and just observing and make sure everybody's safe all the time. Yeah. Right. So it's that alignment is huge. And I think that a lot of people go into pregnancy and don't even know what they want. And so as pregnancy progresses and these things come up, we start to feel less aligned. And it can be really scary at 32 weeks or 36 weeks or 40 weeks to be like, this provider and I are not aligned and I need a new provider. That's not always easy to do. A lot of practices won't take you. Sometimes it's a different provider within the practice, but I think that's where so many of us at the end do start, our nervous system moves into that fawning stage, right? Like, we are very dysregulated. We no longer feel safe around this person. The things that they are telling me, my body is perceiving those as threat for whatever reason. And so now we're in this dysregulated state. And oftentimes we don't know what to do except just fawn and be like, okay, I'll do that. Okay, I'll do that. Especially if they start throwing things out like, well, if you don't get induced, your baby's going to die, or
your placenta is going to stop working.
Yes. Or if we don't do this, then, if we don't do A, then your baby dies. If we don't do B, your baby dies, right? Like, where we start using these, everything immediately becomes big and scary. And sometimes we have no choice. Like, the way our nervous system responds is we cave or we fawn because that's scary. I don't want that to happen. Right. And this person that I trust to be the keeper of the safety of me and my baby is telling me that if I don't do this, my baby's going to die. But then afterwards, we're sometimes left with, was it really that serious? Like, I still don't feel good about that. Why don't I feel good about that? And then they start doing research and exploring, and it's like, oh, well, they may have over dramatized that a bit.
And it's a bummer too, because like the biggest thing that I don't want our people to go through is all the pushback that happens, like by just asking a simple question or just advocating for themselves, and then it's, oh, now you're a non-compliant patient, you're and all this stuff difficult. And you're being difficult, and it's like, gosh, like, I want all of the people going through this experience to be empowered in that, and part of it is we have to be the ones that are advocating for ourselves, and it doesn't mean that you are being difficult, even though that's what you might be labeled as or seen as in that community. And like, if that is what's happening, change your provider. I'm sorry, but like, that's going to have a huge impact on your birth experience and how you feel throughout your pregnancy. And then also in postpartum, when you go back for your 6-week all clear checkup, like, are they even going to care? Are they going to see, like, is it just going to be this like friction and tension between us because I push back and all that kind of stuff? And like, it just breaks my heart because this is supposed to be one of the most beautiful experiences for people. And that doesn't mean like it was blissed out and we had this like deep meditative state, and like sometimes yes, but it's hard. It's a big process that your body goes through. It's work. But at the same time, knowing how to advocate for yourself and knowing when to leave, or can I still feel safe?
Yeah.
Do I have the confidence and the power in me to be like, I hear you, I understand you, thank you so much, I'm still going to choose differently? Or is it like, yep, okay, I thought about this, I made my own decision, and we're going to come to this from a very level head. And then when we get to that point, I will either trust your judgment or choose something different, right?
Yeah. And I think that breakdown in trust is what we will sometimes see happening with patients and their care providers when the script starts to shift a little bit, right? They've been saying this all along and now this, or sometimes nothing was said, but the patient assumed.
Yeah.
And then as these things start coming up later in pregnancy, they're like, oh, wait, but I thought, and it's like, well, did you ask? Did you research? Like maybe nothing has changed with the provider or the practice, or sometimes it is the complete opposite where they were literally told one thing and then that totally gets flipped around and not necessarily for a safety reason.
Yeah.
But I think what everyone needs to understand, needs to realize is like you deserve support.
Yes.
Right. And you deserve a provider who can keep you and your baby safe while also respecting your goals, and that when they understand the goals, when you when those things are aligned, even if things go very differently from how you expected them to go, you got there together. The choice was made together. You were given information. You felt informed. You were involved in this process, and you feel good about the outcome.
Yep.
And so, yes, you deserve support. You are worthy of support.
Yep.
You absolutely can and should speak up. You deserve to be heard.
Yeah.
You are not being difficult. You're not asking questions to be difficult. I really don't think anybody's sitting there going, I want to ruin this person's day.
Yeah. I'm just going to piss them off because I can. Like, no,
absolutely not. And the reason you're asking questions is because something they said leaves you feeling unsafe.
Yep.
It triggers your nervous system to respond in a way to seek out that safety. Ask those questions. So, that's, again, a thing that is frustrating from a provider standpoint of they're not asking these questions to be difficult. They're not trying to put you behind. They're not challenging your ego and your authority. Something you said is unfamiliar to them, goes against what they thought or what they expected. Their nervous system is spiraling into a state of distress.
Yeah.
How can you calm them down? How can you reassure them?
Yeah.
Right. That this is safe. This is necessary. I recommend this because, or I don't recommend that because, and be willing to also say, I actually don't know much about that.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, yeah. There are so many times where I'm like, I actually have no idea. Like, I've never heard that. Let me look it up.
We can't all know everything about everything.
Yeah.
It's just not possible.
I'll ask Dr. Jaimy. Like, oh.
I mean, sometimes we also use Dr. Google with a lot of discernment and rely on certain resources. But because we don't have every brand new medical journal on our shelves, and also who's got time to go look up every article every time and every research every time? No, and things are changing so fast too, right? Like, I've been out of school for over 20 years. There's a lot of stuff that I learned 20 years ago that there's new information, right? Like, it's outdated. You've got to constantly be learning, and you also can't assume that your provider is up to date on every single thing. Yeah. Right. Oftentimes we've got patients who, holy moly, like, you can get a minor in medical research, because they do spend a lot of time. It's impressive, but they're curious. They have the time. They come in with stuff. I'm like, I didn't even, like, that's awesome. Like, I had no idea that was a thing, that this new research was out, that this new finding was there. Like, cool. I'm going to write that down, and I want to learn about it. But yes, as a provider, you also have to be willing to, up to a point, right? Be willing to listen to what a patient's saying, be open to exploring, is that safe? Like, I'm not familiar with it, and I think, and if not, being able to say to a patient, I don't know that I'm the best provider for your birth. Like, I'm not familiar with or comfortable with, or it's outside of my policy to do that. As providers, we talk about firing patients. Like, nobody wants to do that. But sometimes what a patient wants and needs from you, you're not the best person to provide it. Like, there's nothing wrong with referring out. Refer to a different provider in your practice. Aside from straight up safety reasons, I have never once in 22 years had a patient who was referred out to another provider, referred out for MFM, referred out because we can't do breech birth at home, right? Referred out because we don't take your insurance anymore. Right? Like, there's a whole variety of reasons. I've never heard of anybody being like, yeah, I really want to do this. And they said they don't do that there, but they sent me somewhere that does. No, it's, we don't do that here. Not allowed. You're not getting it. Accept it. This is the way it is. It doesn't feel good as a patient to hear that.
No, it doesn't.
Doesn't leave you feeling safe and supported.
Definitely. And the biggest thing too, like, there is that, when I go over with like my doula clients and stuff, there's that BRAIN acronym. You know that one for like advocating for yourself, right? Like, these are things that you can do with any information that's presented to you. And it is, B stands for like, what are the benefits? What are the benefits of this option, of this intervention, of this procedure, of this decision? Like, whatever, like, what?
Why is it being recommended?
Exactly. Absolutely. And then like, how could this help me or the baby? What positive outcomes are we hoping for? Is this preventative or medically necessary? Like, that is like what we're looking for in terms of what's being presented. And like, you don't like, you can be presented the information. You can go home and you can go through this and digest it in this way with this acronym, which I really love. And then you can come back to your provider with more questions because they're there to support you. As a reminder, your questions are not invalid. They're not inconvenient. They're not like all these things that like gets pushed back on. They're there for a reason, right? Like, the R stands for risks. What are the risks? What are the downsides? Like, what's going to happen if things go wrong? Are there potential complications? What are the long-term and short-term considerations and things like that? We have A for alternatives. Is there another option than this thing that's being presented to me? Okay, explain to me why there is no other option if there isn't, right? Like, if
or
this
explain
is
why
only...
this is the best option,
exactly, right?
Versus these other two things you might not have told me about if I hadn't asked.
Right? Like, could we try anything else first before jumping into this thing? How could we support it differently if there are those options? Like, that's really important. The I stands for your intuition and your instinct. Kind of going back to what you were saying, there's a reason why these questions are coming up. You don't feel safe, or something feels off, or you've never heard of it before, and you want to learn and you want to understand and all that kind of stuff. So again, we've done an episode on what happens with your intuition, with your brain, and how we're like changing everything neurologically. Your intuition is becoming really strong, and we want you to kind of tap into that for yourself, because it is, do I feel safe in this decision? Do I feel like this decision is rushed or pressured? Can I pause for a second and like think about this and sit with it? Or do I have to, like, is it emergent right now where I need to make this decision?
And I think on that as well, it's one of the reasons we do encourage patients to put together some ideas about what they do and don't want for their birth, right? Because if you've at least been presented with or read about or have some familiarity with a lot of these things, you likely have already developed some type of instinctual feelings about it that will come up then when it's presented in birth. And it doesn't mean that instinctually, yes, I go with it, or instinctually, no, I need to stop. It's like, wait, I'm feeling this way. Why am I feeling this way? Can I ask a question to help me feel safer about this option?
Definitely. And then, the N is nothing. What if we did nothing?
What if you go away for 30 minutes and come back? What's going to happen in that 30 minutes?
Absolutely.
Nothing's going to happen? Okay, cool.
Is this urgent? What if we wait and just monitored? What does it look like if we just naturally get here? Like, what does all that look like?
Yeah.
Right? Like that's a really just like good acronym to help discern certain things that get presented, and that is for pregnancy, that's for birth, and that is for postpartum too, right? All these
it's
different
good
things.
for life.
Yeah, life
is good for everything. I think for some people there is already a little bit of this process that happens, but I think that oftentimes in birth we are not in our logical brain when we are in birth. Everything is extremely heightened, right? Everything can feel like a threat to safety, and so it is hard to be logical. And so the process that you might naturally go through presented with anything like this outside of birth, that process, it has to be an on-purpose process.
Definitely.
It is not likely to unfold in the same way that it would for you if you're at the dentist's office and they're talking about doing a root canal or pulling the tooth, just like, you know what I mean? Like there's a conversation that happens about, well, here's choice A and here's choice B, and here are the potential things. That's not typically how things go in birth. So we kind of have to do it on purpose.
Totally.
And you're not, honestly, if you are inconveniencing someone, like, I don't care. Yeah. And you shouldn't care either.
Exactly. That's
like I know that
your experience.
I know, like, unfortunately here in Denver, we are not usually one-to-one with nurses. We are probably almost certainly not, absolutely not one-to-one with providers, unless you're in a home birth or unless you're the only birthing person in a birth center. But if you are like 90+% of women, you are giving birth in a hospital, and you are not the only person giving in labor in that moment. They want to get to the next room and they want to check on the next patient, but the person in the next room isn't your concern, right? If there is a threat to their life, they're not talking to you. They're running away, right? And if there's a threat to your baby's life, they're also not talking to you. They're doing things to you if it's really urgent, right? But this is a time to, the big takeaway is that you're not being inconvenient. You're not being a pain in the butt. You're not doing this to cause other people problems or friction. Like, you deserve to be heard and supported. And if someone else is making you feel like you're inconveniencing them or you're challenging them or any of that, stop talking to that person.
Seriously. But like, and that's the thing too, is like, and that's just, being a woman in general. In this society. So, unfortunately, just the way we have been treated throughout time and all that kind of stuff, we are objects. And again, I'm going to come back to the humanity of it. Like, you are a human being. You deserve care and love and respect and to be guided and all this stuff. And
you deserve eye contact.
Oh God. Especially as women, like this is because we are better with creating connection. Eye contact is really important actually for women.
You deserve to be spoken to, not about or at. All of that changes how your nervous system experiences your birth. And how your nervous system experiences your birth will stick with you afterwards. You may or may not be willing or able to process it in a week, in a month, in 10 years. There are a lot of phrases right now about trauma and things like that. This isn't just physical trauma. This isn't just an episiotomy that was not consented to. This, your brain's perception of safety versus trauma in this process carries on. And so it's not just what happens, it's how it happens. It's how you're treated. It's being involved in this decision. And so this is the time of your life where we give you permission to speak up, to be loud, to be vocal, to be sweary, to be inconvenient, to put people out, like, because the reality is you're not doing that, right? They're are making you feel that way. But what we're saying is that's really not what's happening. And when you have experienced or have seen true support in birth, there is not one person in that room that is ever going to make you feel like you were asking for too much. You are asking for something you don't deserve. You are asking for something you can't have. even if you can't have it, conveying that to you happens in a respectful manner, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I see it all the time attending births where like I'll check in and be like, okay, let's get you some honey sticks because we haven't had anything in our system for a while. And I'm like, no, it's okay. Like, I'll have some. I'm like, nah, you hired me to do this. I'm going to go get you a honey stick. Like, this is not, I'm asking, do you want a honey stick or do you want like an applesauce or what? Like, we're getting something in your system. And I'm going to give it to you. But like, I want to know what it is that you're wanting right now. And like, you hired me to do this. So I'm going to go do this for you. I'm going to be here and support you. You don't have to think about inconveniencing me in any way. Like, I am honored to be a witness in this. And that's how I feel most providers should feel. Honored to be a part of this experience for somebody and be a witness to this transformation for them and this incredible time.
Yes.
But also too, like, there has to be that, like, the bedside manner is super important, and understanding all of that type of stuff that goes into what's happening in her body and her brain.
Yeah. And it's, at the very least, we need an absolute willingness to support in whatever way you as the birthing person needs. One step beyond that is choosing to fill this room with people who can also anticipate the needs. Because you're not always able to say, doula, I need a honey stick.
Totally.
Right? Like, sometimes, like, yes, one is hopefully that you can speak up, and when you speak up, you are heard and you are listened to and respected, but also choosing to fill that room with people who you inherently trust in this time where you have to feel safe, and also who are willing to support you in the way that you ask, and capable of anticipating the support you need, because this is also their area of expertise, right? If this is your first baby and your partner's first baby, they're not bringing in the expertise and the experience, right? In terms of birth, they are hopefully bringing in the expertise and the experience in terms of who you are and what you need in times of stress, times of distress. But yes, so it's the lowest bar is, I'm willing to support you in the way that you're asking me. And then hopefully they also are capable of anticipating what you're going to need. Those are two very different things. And a lot of people, some of the people in the room with them are missing one or both of those. And I think they're both really necessary. And so, yes, you deserve it. You can and should be asking for it. If this is really hard for you, start practicing now.
Yes, start practicing now.
And if you are someone who knows that self-advocacy is really difficult, and like you're somebody who never sends your food back at a restaurant, even though you brought me the salmon and I ordered the vegan meat, like somebody who is going to fall, like, you know who you are. If you're listening to this and you know that this is you, we are not telling you that you are wrong. This is not about shaming you. We want to help empower you and practice this moving into this time where, if there will ever be a time to speak up, birth is going to be the time. So can we practice this now? Or can we hire someone to speak for us?
Love it. I love it when Dr. Jaimy gets feisty.
I did not get sweary. I'm very proud of myself.
It's been a big topic that's come up recently of frustrations that our clients have had. I mean, I just had one yesterday about her first birth and how it went, and how she was just so excited and she trusted everybody, and it, things were done to her, and it ended in a C-section, and she was really upset about it. And, her second time, and the same thing's happening this time again. And I'm like, it breaks my heart. But
even though she's doing things differently.
She's doing things differently.
She's thought through, she's prepared. But all of a sudden we're 40 weeks and we're over 35 years old.
And it's a VBAC. And blah, blah,
now she's being treated like a statistic. And being coerced through fear. and being made to feel that she's irresponsible if she doesn't do what they want her to do.
Yeah.
Because her baby's life's at risk.
Yeah.
Which is just a significant over dramatization of the reality that, yes, you're over 40 weeks. Yes, you're over 35. And yes, it's a VBAC. But by every single possible measure, you are healthy and you are safe. Your baby's healthy. Your baby's safe. There is no sign of imminent risk to you or your baby.
Yep. Yeah. So big topic for us in the clinic this week. This month, 2 months.
Yeah.
So we just wanted to touch on it and really, again, like we say this out of love, not out of judgment, but seriously, you deserve a team who respects you, and you deserve a team who will support you and talk about all of the things with you. Okay. All right, you guys, thanks for listening to our spicy episode on Village Talks podcast. As always, any questions, drop them in the comments. Let us know. Share it with a friend if you know they're the ones that send their food back when there's a hair in it. Things like that. I'm guilty. If it's a hair, I'll send it back. But if it's like, oh, this actually wasn't what I wanted, shoot, I will keep it. So I have to work on that. But as always, thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next time. Thanks so much. If you found today's episode helpful, you can subscribe, share it with a friend, or leave a review. It helps this podcast reach the families who need it most. You can find us at Belly Bliss in Denver and online for resources, workshops, and support. Until next time, take care of your body and trust its wisdom.